Hello friends, it's me, and today, room magic or something else. Let's check out style theory. Did someone build a secret room in your bathroom? Wait, what? From a style theorist, together, let's go. Let's start.
What if I told you that lurking in your bathroom could be a dark secret?
Well, I removed the mirror and this happened. Oh my god.
It's like a room. It's like it was a closet.
We actually have a full-on trapdoor here. It's quite heavy.
No.
There's a room back there.
And you may be next.
Style theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory, the show that's here to remind you that the odds of finding a secret room in your house are low, but never zero.
Oh, come on, bruh. Hello Internet, welcome to Style Theory.
It may come as a surprise to you to find out that one day you could go to clean behind your bathroom mirror and suddenly find a whole room that you never knew existed. Because that's exactly what happened to TikTok user Samantha Hartso. She found an entire second apartment hiding behind her bathroom mirror. And while it led to a fascinating series of videos exploring the abandoned apartment, most of us probably just hit like and moved on, including me. At least until it happened again and again and again, this time complete with creepy old letters and a photo of a headless man. But theorists, then it happened to someone that I know in my real life. Suddenly, it was no longer a funny what if. It was a real threat. Secret rooms are all fun and games until you realize that someone could be living in your house in a secret room and you would never know.
But it's not quite possible in Singapore. Most of us, I'm talking about like 90%, 95% of all us, live in high-rise buildings. That means like HDB condominiums. A very small majority live in landed property, like bungalows, villas, landed property. Yeah.
Is scary, which is why I've brought you here. Behind me, we have 3 hidden rooms, each of which contain a clue to help us get to the bottom of why these secret rooms exist and how you can keep yourself safe from any ghosts or ghouls hiding behind your walls. Editors, reveal door number 1.
History.
When you think about why someone would have a secret room, the first thing that obviously comes to mind is that they have something to hide. While that may sound dramatic, this idea holds a lot of merit when you start to look a little deeper. Throughout history, there have been a number of moments where cultures have clashed, to put it very mildly. Buckle up, theorists. This idea has dated back as far as the Egyptians. Historians believe that pyramids were built with false rooms to hide actual burial sites from would-be grave robbers. Even now, we are finding new hidden passageways thought to be used during building or to point the way to the actual burial sites. Now, most modern homes aren't trying to ward off tomb raiders, but they did have other goods to keep out of sight. The 1920s was a time of excess and indulgence. It was a golden age of music, fashion, and governmental mandates. Whee! This was the era of prohibition, where the US governments outlawed the manufacturing, transportation, or selling of alcohol. Though it wasn't just the US being a buzzkill. A handful of other countries also tried to shut down the party, to little success. Instead, people turned to other methods in order to indulge in secret. Speakeasies became the hotspot to gather with your fellow rule breakers. These hidden drinking establishments were concealed behind, above, below, or even inside otherwise seemingly legitimate businesses. The goal being to make sure that the only people who would know that the place existed were the people in the know. Some required a password, while others would give you a card to show you were part of the super secret club. Clearly,
Don't speak unless spoken to.
they never heard about the first rule of Fight Club. But while the way in was always different, they all had means of staying hidden. New York's 21 Club had levers built into their illegal liquor storage that, when pulled, would send their stash into a secret area below the bar. They also had a hidden door to their cellar, which still remains to this day. Over in Chicago, the Green Mill Lounge was allegedly a favorite hangout of Al Capone, who would use their underground service tunnels to do business alongside the lounges houses own illegal transportation of alcohol. And it wasn't just commercial spaces trying to pull one over on the prohibition police, as evidenced by what people have found hidden in their walls.
It wasn't until one day a construction worker stumbled across this. Tiles placed in perfect form. He moved back the tiles and found 10 bottles of whiskey dating back over 100 years.
But secret storage areas aren't quite the same thing as hidden rooms. Unfortunately, when we take a look towards big
Wow, those people are lucky. 100 years old whiskey, 10 bottles of them. It's gonna be very expensive if you auction them.
bigger hidden spaces, say ones big enough to fit a person or two, many may exist due to a much darker reason. Throughout history, many people have been persecuted or even hunted down just for being true to themselves. From the Underground Railroad being used to help enslaved people escape from their abusers, to Jewish refugees hiding from Nazi soldiers, or even priests hiding in priest holes to escape the Protestant persecution under Queen Elizabeth, these hidden spaces have been used as safe houses during times of dire circumstances. They were, quite literally, life-saving. However, neither of these options seem to match up with the secret rooms people are posting about. So, what else could be behind it? That brings us to hidden door number 2. In modern media,
It's kind of sad that back then, human lives are not treated well. I'm glad that there's improvements and there's even more improvements for the future. I hope that one day when my children's, my grandchildren's, my great-grandchildren's can look back at those history that I'm going through, it's like, wow, father's time, grandfather's time or great-grandfather's time was kind of primitive, I guess. But hopeful.
there's a trend of romanticizing the class divide between the uber-rich and the house staff. Downton Abbey, upstairs, downstairs, you get the idea. The reality was a lot less glamorous. While there are still people wealthy enough to have people work inside their house today, this was much more common back in ye olden days. So much so that many homes were built with that in mind. In the mid-12th century, Gothic architecture was all the rage in Europe. And no, I don't mean those coffin-shaped bookshelves and cat beds, though they are super cute. Maybe I need to get one of those. Anyway, what I mean is the original Goths. Back then, Gothic meant a specific style of building, one with intricate details, large open rooms, and high archways, all of which took a long time to build. This meant that the residents, servants, and builders were often living and working together during the literal years of construction work. And at the time, the mixing of the classes was considered in quote-unquote bad taste. So, in addition to the main home, they would build servant quarters and passages. These areas were usually hidden from sight so that workers could move about unseen by their employers. This trend continued through the next handful of centuries, including crossing over into the New World, though that did not go well, to say the least. Now, to the shock of literally no one, these areas tended to favor efficiency and space saving over the comfort and luxury of the main areas. The stairways and hallways were often extremely narrow, usually about 4 feet wide, and the stairs could be extremely steep to help conserve more space for the main house. Imagine trying to carry like a box up these things. I would die. These travel
Yeah, and the sad thing is, people actually die. Hundreds, if I'm not wrong, even thousands of people die. Just imagine a maid have to go up, go down, go up, go down every single time, like hundreds of times. Oh, I'm gonna get you your food. Go up, brrr, go down. I'm gonna get you your food. Go up, go down. I'm gonna get you your napkins, your utensils, everything. Every single journey is playing with gravity because the stairs are not engineered properly and it's extremely dangerous.
hallways would then connect to different utility rooms used to keep the house in order, such as the kitchens, supply storage areas, and laundry rooms. Though before laundry rooms existed, most places tended to use a thing called laundry chutes, which has led to some creepy discoveries, like this woman who found a stranger's shoe inside her wall. Most servant quarters also had their own entrances, separate from the main residence. These areas do still exist today, though as homes have been renovated, some end up sealed away, left to collect dust and, maybe provide a little bit of a fright to new residents when they accidentally stumble upon an old creepy passageway.
And that's one of the reasons why it's not likely in Singapore, because, well, Singapore is a new country, it's a new nation. So most of us, I'm talking about a good solid 90%, 95% of all people in Singapore live in high-rise buildings. Buildings that are relatively new, like not centuries old, just like 1 or 2 centuries, sorry, 1 or 2 decades old. Okay, latest maybe like 3, 4 decades, 5 decades, and that's it.
My god. So I've just pulled up this board and there seems to be a hole that leads to another room. There's also this really creepy staircase that leads up there. So I made it upstairs. So this room is actually huge. My light won't even reach that far.
Now, this may explain some of the weird things that people have found, at least for people who have purchased or rented an old house with a long history. But that doesn't tell us why people in modern apartments and condos are also finding these secret rooms. You see, as these homes fell out of fashion, and as most of the world no longer needed or couldn't afford a house staff, we entered into our modern era of architecture, which, let's be real, is a little less exciting than previous generations. I would say we've gotten a little bit basic. But the reason for that may be the missing clue we need to solve this mystery, and it's hiding behind secret door number 3. When it comes to real estate, whether you're renting an apartment in New York City...
Wait, I just noticed that this episode's about style theory is not about fashion. Well, a bit of fashion, but more like lifestyle theory. Hey, architecture!
or buying a cottage in the English countryside, one truth is universally accepted. It's expensive. Over the past 20 years, the US housing market has seen increases of anywhere between 50 to 200%, depending on the region, which means people are looking to do one thing: save money. And they're doing it by playing the world's worst game: hide and cut. I would say it's a lot less murdery than it sounds, but we'll get to that. When it comes to hiding costs, most of the time it's for pretty mundane reasons. For instance, a couple in Oklahoma was knocking down a wall to fix their leaky drain when they stumbled upon a large abandoned walk-in shower. After speaking to the seller, they found out that the previous owners had boarded it up because it was cheaper and easier to close it off and forget about it than, hire a plumber to come and fix their leaky shower. This is surprisingly common, as for many, home renovations are more expensive than they can afford. A few $100s on plaster and plywood can seem pretty reasonable compared to a couple thousand in repair costs. However, that's not the case for all secret rooms. Others are there to evade having to pay for that extra space. Yeah, tax evasion through architecture is surprisingly common throughout history. When you pay taxes on your home, you are paying for the square footage of space available for you to live in, or rather, the square footage that tax collectors think you can live in. When you conceal a large portion of footage and then fail to include that same footage in your home's blueprints, you are essentially telling the government that it doesn't exist. For homeowners, this is a way to pay less while having more.
This might seem like a normal room that's always been here, but the truth is this was actually part of the covered patio. It's not counted as part of square footage on the public records.
However, when selling a house, it is beneficial for the seller to open it up and have it contribute to that overall square footage of the home. But they would have to know it was there in the first place. If they don't, it leads to situations like what my friend recently found in her condo. She and her husband went to redo their bathroom pipes only to find...
Wait. You mentioned condo. That was high-rise building. What?
Like so many others, that they had a lot more space than they previously thought. But what about that first New York City apartment? The one that led us down this rabbit hole of building histories in the first place? What could cause someone to find a whole other apartment on the other side of their bathroom mirror? Well, it brings us to the other half of our hide and cut game: cutting costs. Plumbing and wiring are two of the most expensive things to put into a new building. And when you're talking about get apartments, those costs start to multiply by 20, 30, or even hundreds depending on the number of units in the building. So it makes sense that a landlord looking to save a little cash would double up where they can. They do this by mirroring neighbor units, aka flipping the layout so that they can share the same bathroom wall and the same plumbing system. That is what happened to this TikToker. Her neighboring apartment building was built as a mirror to hers. Literally. Her bathroom mirror and her neighbor's bathroom mirror shared the same spot, leading her to this Alice through the looking glass moment. Between the two units, as you can see in her video, is a narrow gap meant for maintenance workers to be able to do repairs. This is a common technique in apartment buildings, so much so that it inspired a famous horror movie, Candyman. In the film, the killer ghost haunts people through the use of bathroom mirrors. But the truth behind that is a lot sadder. The movie and the story behind it were partially inspired by a true event. In 1987, a woman named Ruthie Mae McCoy was killed in her Chicago apartment. Before she died, Ruthie called 911 claiming that someone was trying to break into her home through her bathroom mirror. But her concerns went ignored by the police. But Ruthie was telling the truth. The suspects had gotten in through that maintenance path inside her walls, and the police's wrongful dismissal of her claims led to her death. It was preventable and exceedingly tragic. What we can take away from this, though, is that no
She's very correct. It is preventable. She is very correct. It is sad. Very tragic.
knowing what is really in your home, all of the hidden spaces and secret entryways, is extremely important. So, how can you know if your home has one? Is there any way for you to know if your home or apartment has a hidden room? The answer is yes, and it's surprisingly easy. But before we proceed, I need to give a few disclaimers. First, if you're renting, ask before you do anything. We here at Theorist are not responsible if you suddenly decide to take a hammer to your bathroom wall and break your lease. You will not be getting your deposit back. Secondly, be safe, everybody. Do not enter into a space that looks like it's a second away from collapsing beneath your feet, or, like a stranger may be squatting in it. Got it? Okay. So,
Yeah, don't do things that are silly and stupid and foolish. Don't GG yourself.
how exactly do you find a secret room hidden in your house? You start by getting the blueprints. Depending on your living space, these can be public record or held by your building's owners. Once you have that, you can start to compare the actual layout of your home to what is on the blueprint, looking for any inconsistencies. These areas are often called dead spaces, which are spaces that are deemed useless by builders or former residents that they decided to wall in, or even lead to a defunct feature of the house, like say an abandoned walk-in shower. Sometimes there will be a noticeable latch or door, but sometimes you might have to do like our New York City TikToker and follow the mysterious airflow coming from an unexpected location. And who knows, maybe you'll just find yourself in a secret room. But that's just a theory, a style theory. Keep looking sharp. Feeling stressed? Click the box on the screen to go touch grass. And I'll see you next Saturday morning.
Well, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe. Thank you. But hey, that's just a theory, a style theory. Keep looking sharp. Which is kind of awkward if you think about it. This is not style theory as in fashion, but style theory as in lifestyle theory. More about architecture, so yeah. Subscribe, thank you.